Everyone, this is AZ Hubbard, your host of SAVEDNews TV. I want to thank you all for allowing us into your homes and allowing us to bring you this news. I also want to take a moment to thank all the people that have messaged us to thank us for bringing forward the conflict in Israel and stand on top of it. We really appreciate it, and it is a wonderful thing that we are trying to do for you. And it's sort of hard to bring constantly this type of news because it is sad. It is really sad. And so I'm going to bring the some more news, just a little bit of news first, and then I'll get into the update as far as Israel is concerned, but it's related. It is sort of very disheartening. So first of all, we're going to start off with what is going on in the United States as far as many members of Congress calling for several members to be removed from Congress. Let me pull this up here because of their stance on Israel. So we have Tlaib. Let me pull this up. Where did I put it? Y'all, please forgive me. We have, for those that don't know, Save News is, we have an interactive magazine, which we hope that you are subscribed to. We also have online radio station. We have two TV networks, one on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. And so we have a lot of things going on along with our social media and everything. So we have other things to bring and to do. But there's growing calls for Omar, AOC, Cori Bush, and Rashid Tlaib to be expelled from Congress. And let's go over this. Washington, D.C., in a stark divergence of the bipartisan support typically seen in Congress regarding U.S.-Israel relations, members of the squad, in quotation marks, a group of far left Democrats, have ignited a controversy with their statements on ongoing Hamas attack on Israel. The notorious group, which includes Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Alana Presley, Ilhan Omar, and Rashid Tlaib, has sparked calls for their removal from Congress and has drawn condemnation from some of their own party colleagues. Representative Cori Bush of Missouri stated that the United States should cease its support for the Israeli military occupation and apartheid. His comments reflect a growing sentiment within the progressive wing of the Democratic Party that views U.S. support for Israel as problematic and needs to be reassessed. Meanwhile, Representative Jamal Bowman of New York calls for an end to Israel's blockade of Gaza. He argued that this blockade exacerbates and the suffering of Palestinians in the region, and that addressing this issue is critical to achieve peace and stability. Want to know what you all think? Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ayanna Presley from New York and Massachusetts, respectively, call for the immediate ceasefire and de-escalation in the ongoing conflict. They expressed concerns that Israel's military actions could lead to further loss of life and suffering among Palestinians in Gaza. Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota initially criticized the violence caused by Hamas while urging de-escalation and ceasefire. She framed ongoing conflict as part of the back and forth cycle, highlighting the cynical nature of the violence in the region. However, she later emphasized the need of the moral awakening in the United States to address the human suffering in Gaza. Representative Rashida Tlaib of Michigan placed the blame for Israel's suffering squarely on Israel itself. She advocated for the lifting of the blockade, ending the occupation, and dismantling what she termed as apartheid system that creates the condition conducive to resistance. Tlaib also called for the end of U.S. support for Israel, linking it to the of preparation of violence in the region. Okay, so want to know what your thoughts are on this as far as the call for the those Congress people to be removed from Congress based on their desire to have Israel funding stopped. Now, as I go into the what the updates are in Israel, they're very disturbing. And so normally I would show you all footage. I'm not going to show footage of some of this because it is just too disturbing, because our sources are on the ground and they are bringing information to us that, and also the mainstream media is cannot and will not show this either. So what we just got in, well, not just got in, but it is most disturbing. This is coming from the Sun, and it's also coming from other sources. So we're going to bring and put this information to you, and keeping the prayers of those, affected, the families. Again, this is very disturbing on what we're getting ready to show you. So, but again, I'm not going to show certain things on screen because it is just too much. And so I'm going to bring this up here. And then I'm going to bring you some news that you're not going to see on, some information that you're not going to see on the news. Okay, this is what is being reported, that it's a massacre. Hamas slaughters 40 babies and kids in one town, and some are beheaded as families burned alive in pogrom, Israel claims. Now, we have received several confirmations on this from different sources, so let's get into this. Hamas terrorists massacred at least 40 babies and kids in a sickening rampage in one town, with some found beheaded, Israel claims. Israeli soldiers discovered scenes of the unimaginable horror in Kfar Azad, a village close to the Gaza border that was captured for 2 days by the Hamas militants. I'm going to pass by these photos. The Israeli army has taken back control of the besieged village, and its soldiers now face the gut-wrenching task of recovering the bodies of dozens of victims. Armed with guns, grenades, and knives, Hamas terrorists beheaded men, women, children, and babies in their beds early Saturday morning after storming over the border. Speaking from the scene of the bloodbath, I-24 News reporter Nicole Zedek said the soldiers told her they had found women and babies with their heads cut off. At least 40 babies and children were slaughtered as their entire family were burned alive in their homes and shot dead. Visibly shaken by the atrocities, Nicole said, "No one could expect it to be like this. The horrors I'm hearing from these soldiers about the babies at least were taken out of gurneys. They went from house to house, still taking out dead bodies. She said cots and buggies were abandoned in the street as terrified families fled the rampaging terrorists who stormed the village in waves every 20 minutes for an astonishing 48 hours. The burning out houses, horrifying images of blood-soaked baby seats as Hamas militants appeared to have indiscriminately opened fire on vehicles. Major General Atali Varuz described the sickening scenes of brutal violence where whole families were murdered in their homes. He told reporters, "You see the babies, the mothers, the fathers in their bedrooms, in their protection rooms, and how the terrorists kill them. It's not a war. It's not a battlefield. It's a massacre." Some Something I've never seen in my life is something we used to imagine from our grandfathers, grandmothers in the pogrom in Europe and other places. Reporters who were allowed into the village on Tuesday described the horrifying smell of death. Some Israeli soldiers appeared visibly shaken by the brutality as they found streets littered with corpses after Hamas terrorists went from door to door, gunning down entire families. Graphic images showed families slaughtered in their bedrooms and living rooms, with the walls of their homes riddled with bullet holes. A Telegram account set up by the first Israeli responder said, "Nothing has been spared. It all systematic slaughter and destruction of everything that moves, as bodies of victims are being recovered in the decimated village. The death toll is not known for that village." One soldier told ITV News, "It reminds me of pogroms and of the Nazis. More than 100 bodies have also been found in Kibbutz Bari, also one of the first places targeted by Hamas. Volunteers in yellow vests and face masks carried the dead bodies out of the homes on stretchers. The trail of blood wounded along the floor of the house where the bodies have been dragged by the militants into the streets from blood-soaked kitchens strewed with overturned furniture. More than 3,000 people have been killed on both sides since Hamas stormed the border, massacred hundreds in the surprise attack. Following Hamas' threat to execute some 150 civilian hostages, Israel unleashed a relentless barrage of airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. The militants are now reportedly planning to post sickening footage of Israeli hostages after the terror group threatened a major rocket attack at the port of Ashkelon. On Monday, the armed wing of Hamas said that it will begin executing one Israeli captive and broadcast live footage for every citizen house bombed in the Gaza without warning. Israeli school. Now let me stop here. The reason why they want warning, because this is the protocol that Israel normally follows. Before they bomb send rockets into a place where there is the militants, they normally call and say, "We're going to bomb this building, everybody get out." And what the terrorists do, once they receive that call, they take children, women, the elderly to the rooftops of that building in hopes that Israel will bomb that particular building and then take the lives of whomever is on the roof. Well, because of that practice, Israel has not been announcing all of the rockets that they're going to shoot and launch into the Gaza, because they want to spare the lives of innocent babies, women, and the elderly. So this is what they want them to warn them. But when Israel warns them, what happens is, like I said, they take the innocent to the roof and use them as human shields. Okay. Now back to this article. Israeli schools have sent a message to parents to immediately remove apps like TikTok and Instagram from their children's phones so they won't be come across the graphic content. Israel earlier urged citizens of Gaza to flee south to Egypt ahead of all-out ground assault as Hamas bombards the Israeli city of Ashkelon with rockets. The Israeli army is gathering 173,000 troops, including 8,000 elite commandos, along with 300 tanks, artillery pieces, and rocket launchers in the border town of Sderot. A further 300,000 reserve troops have been readied ahead of the planned invasion. The Israeli Defense Force has also reportedly begun laying mines as it blockades the Gaza Strip, cutting off food, water, and electricity. The U.S. is also moving several warships, including the USS General Ford, and aircraft to the Mediterranean after Joe Biden pledged Washington's rock-solid support to Tel Aviv. And here are some photos of what has been going on. Okay. Now, like I stated earlier, I will not be showing the graphic photos that I have in my feed. It's just too horrible to look at. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going over and I'm going to read you some of the updates that we have coming in from these feeds, and the reason why I am not putting it up on screen as I did before, because in my feed from my sources on the ground, there are some graphic photos, and I just don't want to show this to anyone. Okay. Let's pull this up here. And as you know, if for those that watched yesterday's show with Callie and I, as soon as Callie got off the live with me, which Callie, for those that don't know, Callie is our international correspondent in Jerusalem. The red alert happened, and she had to immediately go to the bunker with her family. And there was several. She was there for several hours. She is now out of the bunker, so we're glad for that. That she has been out of the bunker now. But it's just been a very tumultuous time, and that's one of the things that I was saying as far as contacting anyone in Israel unless it's an emergency, please, or finding out their well-being. They're trying to survive right now, so it might not be the best time to just call and chat and have a general conversation unless you have a really close relationship with someone. They're really going through a lot. You can contact them, maybe send them an email or something like that to let them know that you're thinking of them or whatever. Okay. So now we have the negotiation for the hostages in place. Hamas is supposedly preparing to return a number of elderly people and children who will be transferred to Egypt in the first phase in the return of electricity to be restored. I think I went over this the other day. They did not. Let me go. Not the other day, but in our last live. So we have Israel paratroopers are now coming in. And this is another thing that was very disturbing, is that there was 400 cows. I mean, they slaughtered 400 cows on a farm. Um, you know, I mean, they came to kill, and destroy. They said Hamas is claiming that they only have fuel reserves of the Gaza power station to only last until Wednesday, and that Israel has threatened to attack if the fuel transport from Egypt via the Rafah crossing. While Israel announced they were cutting off the portion of power they supply, and we have not received any confirmation on that part as far as the return of power. The son of Hamas boss fled to Egypt before the war. Okay. And a reader reporter, he was not able to purchase additional, as far as firearms. A terrorist was thwarted for a short time ago while trying to penetrate Zakim base by fighters of the Rescue and Training Brigade. There are no more casualties out of the base. Now, I have a number of information that I want to share with you and want to pull up. Let me pull this up because it's important that you all see this also. No, that's not it. We have, I thank you all for, stuff is coming in. My phone be buzzing. And I know I'm trying to give you all information that you're not receiving from mainstream media, because some of this they're not going to share with you. So I try to bring you things that you might not get directly from mainstream media. Okay. No, we're definitely not showing that. The Islamic Jihad is now threatening to fire at Tel Aviv at 9 p.m. And that was at 2 p.m. our time. So we don't have an update on that as far as whether they actually fired into there. American warships are getting closer to the region. Yes. Okay. We have also, let's pull this up here. We have stories that's coming from the southern Israel get worse by the hour. A woman was found murdered with her fetus next to her, still attached to the umbilical cord. An elderly woman was found in a pool of blood. Her body was riddled with bullets. Entire families were burned to death in their homes. So evidently they took the baby out of the pregnant woman. They have raped young women next to the corpses of their murdered friends. Like I said, this is a very disturbing newscast with me bringing this to you. And I thank you all for watching. Also, the Pentagon official said that the United States has not ruled out initiating a special operation to liberate U.S. citizens who are being held hostage by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. So Americans be on alert for that. Okay, what else is coming in? Some more stuff just came in. Let's get it. I like to try to get it to you as soon as it come in. Okay. Okay, so let me pull this up. After rockets are fired from southern Lebanon, Israel responds by striking terror targets with military, and the IDF conducts scans amidst suspicion of terrorists infiltrating in the north. So let's pull this up here. This is J Post here. No, I'll copy that. I don't want this opening over here. Excuse me. And we also know of the threat to attack Damascus. For those that are biblical, you know that that is prophetic for Damascus to be destroyed. So let me share this right here. This J Post article where Hezbollah's okay, I'll put it up. All right, here we go. Israel strikes Hezbollah targets after rockets fired from Lebanon. The military used artillery to strike targets across the border. IDF is conducting scans amid suspected terrorists infiltrated the north. This is the photo that's coming up. The IDF struck Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon after rocket sirens sounded along Israel's northern border with Lebanon on Tuesday afternoon, the military confirmed. Sirens sounded in the border communities. A rocket was reported to have fallen in Shalom Mai, but no injuries or damage reported. Later on Tuesday evening, the IDF confirmed that Israeli tanks targeted Hezbollah observation points in southern Lebanon after some 15 rockets were fired into northern Israel. Now remember, there's a time difference, 7-hour time difference. So when I say Tuesday afternoon, it's their Tuesday afternoon, not ours. The IDF helicopters attacked another Hezbollah observation post in southern Lebanon after the terrorist organizations launched an anti-tank misguided missile at Israeli forces, the military said. The military used artillery to strike targets across the border. Hamas armed wing has claimed responsibilities for firing the rockets on Israel from the southern border of Lebanon. On Tuesday, it said in a statement. Suspected terrorists infiltrate in northern Israel. Moments later, Israeli media reported that Israeli forces conducted scans along the border amid fears of terrorist infiltration from the Lebanese border. Residents of Israeli towns located 4 kilometers or less away from the border were asked to shelter in their homes. At around 7 p.m., the threat was lifted. Residents in the border city of Methulah were asked to evacuate amid escalating tensions in the northern theater. This story is developing, and so there should be other updates on that. Okay. Now, speaking of borders, we are going to go over to, there's so much news in Israel, and the mainstream media is picking up some. We'll bring back Callie at another day, and so she can update us on some of the things that she has. But one thing that we have an issue here now is the cartel at our southern border. And one thing that America really needs to look at closely is the fact that our border is open. I know Biden said now he's going to build just 20 miles. 20 miles is nothing of the border wall. And, people are in our country. We have no idea who they are. what their purpose is, what their agenda is. So, America could very well be at danger, you know. So, anyway, let's put this up here because the cartel is now, uh, cartel strong. Controversy surrounds Texas land developer allowing undocumented immigrants to purchase property. Is it an optical haven for illegal aliens or just a scam? Um, so now they have a place and I'm just going to show you photos where it's an entire city in Texas that, this ad. Okay, let's go back. Those are ads. There's an entire city in Texas that is full of, homes and everything that they purchased. They've been allowed to purchase and build, and people are undocumented there. Again, another situation where we don't know what the status of these people, where they come from, what their agenda is. And America really needs to be careful of allowing people into our country and not knowing who it is. Now we have the fact that, during the Trump administration, they were called, let everybody in. Let everybody in. But now we're at the point where even the Democrats are demanding that the closure of the United States southern border. And I am of the also belief to not only focus on the southern border, but the northern border also, because a lot of people come through that way. There are many holes in our borders around the entire country. There are presently an acute and immediate need to construct physical barriers, and roads in the vicinity of the border of the United States in order to prevent unlawful entries into the United States. Who said that? Donald Trump, Representative Matt Gaetz, Representative of Florida, Representative Taylor Greene? Nope. Those are the words of Homeland Security. Alejandro Mayorkas said in a comment on that landed Wednesday 180 degrees opposite. So regardless, these are some of the things that he has said, that they want them to have a limit on who can come across the border. Governor Kathy Hochul, Democrat of New York, told CBS News, Face the Nation on October 1st, that it's too open right now. Also, this will destroy New York City, warned Democratic Mayor Eric Adams. Some 110 illegal aliens have swamped Gotham since spring 2022. Adams expects to spend $12 billion to babysit them. Coincidentally, he's slashing the budgets of fire, police, sanitation, and other services by 15% through fiscal 2020-2025, and so forth. We have several different Democratic sanctuary city governors now stating that they want to close the southern border. And so it is what it is. And so we have that. I thank you all for joining us. I also want to tell you, if you have Amazon Fire TV or Roku, you can watch us on that. Also, this is our social media, and where you can follow us. You can follow us. And I want to put this up because I've had several people that caught us on YouTube, on Facebook, but they wanted to catch us on YouTube. So this is our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SAVEDNews TV. And that's where you'll see all of our things. This is a short show. There's so much more that I could bring you. But again, things have been, they're so emotionally draining that I don't want to bring too much and show any photos of things and videos of things that definitely um, is just too much for us to bear. We cannot comprehend. We are truly blessed in this nation to not have gone through or going through an experience like that. We definitely want to be mindful of those that are. So thank you all again for tuning in, Save News TV. This is for the people on YouTube or Twitter or Twitch or any of the platforms that we're streaming that have asked for our YouTube channel. If you come over to our YouTube channel, please enjoy. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much, and you all have a very blessed day. Bye.